Hi, Tenure Coaches. Just wanted to make a quick video and help with some kind of game day tips and stuff that I've been noticing. I am also a coach in this division, so I'm getting firsthand and seeing a lot of games out there. So, a couple things. One, game cards. Make sure your game cards are filled out. I know that our Tenure Boys Commissioner already talked about it. We want to make sure that they're already filled out. You can either buy the same color cardstock and print them, or just make sure they're all filled out, and then all you have to do is fill in the game time, right? Or the date if you're not sure, and do that the night before, right? So that you're not during warm up as the ref is trying to check in, hurriedly trying to write every kid's name and remember what jersey number they have. Get that handled so that we can get that taken care of, right? Now, the other thing is that we want to make sure that regarding positions, we're still finding it. I probably can resend that email, but we want to make sure that you're following kind of the rules. Yeah, so one, you are only allowed to play a kid and goalkeeper for 2 quarters maximum. 2 quarters maximum. They cannot play 3. They cannot play 4. 2 quarters maximum. The other thing, when you have a full roster and you have 10 players, or the 9 players, right? You cannot sit somebody for 2 quarters until everybody has sat 1 quarter first. In AYSO, we have guaranteed playing time, right? Everyone plays, okay? So everybody plays. Now, if you find you're just such an amazing coach and your team is loving it and you're getting all 10 players every single game, wow, it's a lot. It's hard to manage 3. What needs to happen is the players that are sitting 2 quarters cannot be the same game over game. It needs to rotate through your team who those 2 quarter sitters are. I highly doubt you'll have all of your games with all 10 players there. That's a kind of more of a rarity, but you do need to make sure that it is spread across the team in terms of that. When that has to happen, when players need to sit 2 quarters, you need to communicate clearly to the kids and to the team, and communicate clearly to the parents. It just helps, right? Set the expectations, right? It just preemptively get them on board before you get to the end of the game and they're like, my kid only played for 2 quarters. What is this nonsense? So just focus on that. All right. So a couple game tape tips to help everybody that I see out there. One, doesn't matter what formation you're playing. I see a lot are playing mostly a 2-3-1, some kind of playing a 3-2-1. Those would be kind of the most common. Typically, the only time you can see what somebody's formation is when they line up for the beginning of the game or when they line up for, because they've been scored on. So, at the kickoff. Anyways, but let's talk about a 3-2-1 because that's pretty much what everyone is doing. The first tip I have for you is keep shape, right? Keep our shape. That's something like, if you're not sure, what do I yell at game time? Keep our shape! Where's our shape? Right? And teaching kids, it's so hard, especially because this year's so hard. We don't have our second year players, so those kids that were born in 2012, the older in that 2-year division, normally will have played, right? So they can kind of help. They know about the build out line. They know a little bit more. They're a little bit more familiar, and it's easier. We don't have that, right? Across the board, everybody is new playing 10U this year. So in keeping our shape, a couple things that can really help is, let's say we have our 2 defenders, right? Yes? Okay, great. I have my 3 midfielders, and I have my 1 forward. Okay? 2-3-1. That now we want to be able to keep shape. And how I want to teach keeping shape is my favorite way, and if you have a clipboard you can show it, is that one, if I drew a line, and you can even do this in practice, you can put cones down, okay, and mark the middle of your scrimmage field like that. And we want to ensure that these players here, boom, and boom, and boom, and boom, are not coming over to the other side. That's pretty simple, pretty basic, right? But, so you want to tell them they can always see where the middle of the goal is. That's a very easy thing. And we want to stay on our side. So a lot of times, most of the time, I will call out to a player, hey, what position are you? And he's all the way over here, and he'll be like, oh, right, mid. Yep, where are you supposed to go? Oh yeah, I'm supposed to be over here, right? It's just they're ball magnets, yeah? They get sucked across. Everybody's over in one section. So can we help them? Because if we can keep them to keep shape, then they're going to be in positions that we can now start to have them do more advanced things, right? And as they get better at controlling the ball and passing and their positional understanding, they're going to be in they're going to be in positions and they're going to be set up to be able to utilize that space and create opportunities from there. So that one is that middle line. Can we get those kids? Now, when the ball is on this side of the field, that means we kind of want to shift over. We want these kids to pinch in. They should be closer. These kids would be, we can teach them weak side, right? Weak side means they're on the side that the ball is not on. And when that's the case, when we're the weak side players, can we move closer to that midline, right? Not passing it, but can we move closer to the midline? Same thing when the ball's on this side of the field over here. Oops, that doesn't want to erase. Same thing. Then these weak side players need to shift in, right? And go closer to that midline. That would help keep our shape. The other thing that will really help keep our shape, okay, is, let me just erase those real fast, is if we kind of stay connected, right? So by staying connected, what I mean by that, yes, is if we start to attack, our defenders, I see some defenders just sitting on that, either the build-out line, right? If I drew that build-out line here and here, they're just sitting. The defenders are just sitting on that build-out line or sitting on top of the 18. Push them up. If we're way up here, push them up. Make us stay connected so there's not big gaps in between. Okay? Same thing when we're defending. When all of a sudden, and I'll take that midline away, when all of a sudden we're defending, right, can we, okay, so we're down here, we're defending, we've got our goalkeeper, we've got all of our players back, everyone's back, okay? But if we don't do anything, their defenders, even if I put them in red, their defenders are going to start to push up, right? They're going to come into the space, and now we can't get out, right? They're staying more compact, and we're getting pushed further and further down into our defensive third. So how we do that is our forward, if I'm playing with one forward or I'm playing with two, at least one of them needs to stay high. And by staying high, it could be staying at the halfway line, or because we have a build-out line, it could be kind of staying between that build-out line and that halfway line and trying to be here. The minute we do that, that's going to force their defenders, or at least one of them, right, to come back. Okay? Maybe two. Right? It's going to force, so now we've opened up more space and so that we can get out, right? So staying connected. Can our defenders move up? Can our forwards stay high? Okay, now they still need to drop in a little bit. You don't want them just hanging out up there, right? They need to be an option, a viable option for us to get there, but that will help us a little bit, right? What else did I want to kind of talk about? We talked about weak side players. Staying connected as well, right? Actually, we'll do it this way. Since, right, the red team is attacking this way, right? Ball is down here. Everybody is attacking. The defenders are back a little bit. The goalkeeper, yeah, should come off of their line. They shouldn't be just standing, boom, on the white line, on that line between the two goalposts. You want them to start to move up a little bit, okay? Can we get them to also stay connected, to recognize that when the ball goes up the field, we can also stay connected, right? And now if any balls get through, now we have the opportunity to get it. And as the play starts to build up back towards us, then we can slowly drop back. Right, so really looking at staying connected. The other ones are throw-ins, right? See a lot of, foul throws now starting to be called, and we've got to kind of help our kids get there. You don't need to do a whole practice on throw-ins, tell you that much. You don't need to do it. But what you can do is just have them scrimmage, whether that's an rival scrimmage or you scrimmage against another team, and you ensure that all the kids, you're practicing those throw-ins over and over again, right? So you could even say there's no goal kicks, there's no corners, we're just going to do throw-ins. Whenever it's our team's ball, it's going to be a throw-in, right? Making sure their toes are facing where they want it to go, they're digging their feet in, right? Both feet on the ground, ball all the way behind their head. They can't do this, right? So that's why they want their toes to face where they're going. And now we can throw it ideally, right? Let's keep it very simple, down the line, right? Throwing it down the line, maybe in the middle if they need to, but a lot of kids, they'll look here. They want to throw it here, they want to throw it back, which are great options, and we should have options for that. But if we're not first looking for the space first, right, then we want to teach that first, right? Like that's kind of a more advanced version, so can we help them do that? You can create that, like I said, in your practices. by manipulating the practice and making sure they're getting lots of opportunities for throw-ins. You don't need to sit there and do a 20-minute throw-in drill. Okay. Ask them, where is the space? Where is the space? And the other big one is, so let's talk about from the attacking side. Players will just stand and they'll be like, throw it, throw it, throw it. So if you want to introduce, like, okay, well, what does the defender have to think about when the attacker just stands there? What does the defender for a throw-in have to think about? All they have to think about is watching the ball. Where is the ball? The minute that player, the attacker, starts to move, now their priority is, oh, I want to stay with the player. So now they're thinking about the player first, then the ball. When that happens, now we're going to be able to create some opportunities, right? So looking at them to understand just getting movement first. Can you move? Let's not just stand still on a throw-in. Let's see if we can just move, right? Just try to get some movement, right? We can layer on top of that, but can we get the foundation of understanding that when we stand still, we make the defender's job much easier, right? The other one I would say, I have two more. I think it's goal kicks and the build out line. So let's talk about this. I see a lot of times on the goal kicks, okay, on goal kicks, we want to see, yes, and I'll do it here, goal kicks. Remember, it does not have to come out of the 18, right? That rule changed. They can make a pass and that player can be inside the 18, right? We all know that, yes, that those rules changed. So, but you should have your goalkeeper, okay, unless you were gifted a kid who can hit a long ball at this age, which is highly unlikely, and if you did, the rest of the coaches are jealous, okay? But really, you're not going to get many kids that are going to be able to kick a ball and get it up over defenders' heads and into space and do all that. Now, there's a couple different options. You can, if you do have a kid who can kick that, we can kind of go into that, how you could make a pass and pass it back, and they could hit a rolling ball. But most kids, that's going to be a struggle too. So what we want to teach them is we want to teach them, can they get wide? So here, I'll do it up here. It looks like the lights are kind of shining. So goalkeeper should be taking that corner kick or that goal kick. We want the players here. We also want a player here. Notice that if, again, that build out line, right? I'm so good at drawing a straight line. What do you guys think? Here, I'll do it with glue because that'll make it good. So if that's the build out line, right? We don't want to get the ball here because why? The minute I get it here, these defenders, okay, from the other team, that are all waiting behind this build out line, I have no time and space. I have no time and space. I don't want to get the ball here. This is not ideal, right? I'm going to be under pressure right away. Ideally, I get the ball here, so I'm more even with the ball, and I get wide first. So really teaching them, so we've talked about stay connected. Can we keep our shape? Wide first, then up. So I want to get wide first, then I can start thinking about going up. But most kids, okay, goalie gets the ball, or it's a goal kick, the team is backing up behind the build-out line, and our players will kind of go like that, right? We want them to instead get wide first, then we can look at starting to get up. But can I get here? Can I also get my body shape? Can I see a lot of kids that they'll get wide and they'll be here and then they're facing like this, right? So they're facing this way. So now when they get the ball, their touch is going to come back in here. No bueno, right? We all kind of cringe at that situation. So can we get them to shape like this instead? Where now they're seeing the goalkeeper who wants to play them the ball and they can see the goal. Can we face the field? My body shape, can I get it to show that I can see as much of the field as possible? Can I do that? Now, what else? And then same thing. Obviously, you'll get a lot of kids. They'll have a great body shape. You're like, boom, I'm doing it. They're getting wide. They're facing the field. They get the ball, and they pass it right across the goal mouth, and we all have a heart attack. Okay, so what can we do, right? Is it's helping for the kids to understand that what are we trying to protect? What are we trying to protect? They should be able to answer this. The goal. Where is the goal? It's in the middle. So where do we want to go? In the middle or wide? Okay, we want to go wide. We want to go to where the space is, because if we lose it here, then they're coming. So really getting them to start to understand, like, oh, we're trying to protect the goal. The goal is in the middle. I don't want the ball in the middle. I want it wide. Right? So those would be kind of some very basic ideas that we can start to do it. Next week I can do corner kicks and kind of some attacking and defending corner kicks and set pieces, and also defending, right? In some more shape, but hopefully that is helpful for you. I'd also like to talk about managing the game. Don't forget, we have a mercy rule, right? What that means is when there's a 3-goal difference, any 3-goal difference, it could be 4-1, it could be 5-2, 3-0, doesn't matter. 3-goal difference, boom, the other team, the team that is down 3 goals, gets to put on an extra player, okay, until there's no longer a 3-goal difference. So let's say it's 3-0, and you put on an extra player, and you guys score a goal, it's now 3-1, boom, that player comes off, right? Or a player must come off. So making sure you're utilizing that, okay, making sure that that's there for you if you need it, making sure your team, you have a strategy for if you're on the receiving end of a blowout match, and if you're on the end of, you're the giving, right? You're giving the gift of a blowout for your team. What is your strategy? You need to have it before you're in that environment. So if you reread that email, the mercy rule, if you need it, I can resend it, but it gives lots of strategies on how to prepare your team for it and what you can do, and also how to manage morale, especially. So for example, my team this last week, we went straight to a cookie challenge. So once it was 3-0 in the first quarter, right? We make some changes. Obviously, some things you can do. Make sure you're taking your best players out. Make sure you're putting those players in defense or in corner. You don't want to punish them, but you be like, great job. You scored a bunch of goals. Awesome. Now we're going to give somebody else the opportunity. You're going to come back and play defense. You're going to be out this quarter, right? What can you do to help shift the game? Because this is about the kids. This isn't about you. Nobody's having fun when there's multiple goals or teams are scoring at will. That's not enjoyable for anybody. And so we want to ensure that it's a fun, right, learning environment for all of these kids. This is a fun experience, right? And so other things that I did, the cookie challenge, the ice cream challenge, it can be whatever. It could be, every kid has to do a move or a skill that you taught them. Cool. Everyone does that, they win something, okay? All of a sudden you're taking the emphasis off of either going forward and trying to score the goals, or you're taking the emphasis off of, we're losing by 6 goals, we don't know what to do. Now it becomes, oh my gosh, can we do this thing? Can we win ice cream? So my kids, we did a cookie challenge this weekend. We were winning the game. And at halftime I said they needed to get 3 passes in a row to equal a point. If they got 4 points, they would win cookies or ice cream. I can't remember what the challenge was. And so now all of a sudden their emphasis is on trying to connect those passes, which guess what? Now they're looking for space. Now they're thinking about their body shape. Now they're not just kicking it or going forward or trying to score. Yeah, more goals were still scored, right? I think 1 or 2 more was still, no, actually, can't remember. Point being that goals might still be scored, kids are still going to go forward, but now I'm giving them a challenge that takes that away. It's going to keep the game competitive, right? And it's going to ensure that my kids are still learning under pressure how to do certain things that we're hoping we build on week by week. All right, so hopefully that helps for you. Excited to see everybody. Don't forget, if you're the first game of the day, I know it's a little tricky. We haven't been at Barrington. We're kind of all over the place. Trust me, I know everyone wants this schedule. As field coordinator for the region, I can let you know that 1, this is not just AYSO. Okay, the issue with the LEOSD, the permits, the kind of the chaos, and then on top of that, Barrington not being playable, us not being allowed on the field early enough to try to make it playable. These are issues that aren't just AYSO, they're affecting all of the organizations. I'm in daily contact with 2 of our local clubs and in terms of their field space issues and the struggles that they're having. So it's not just AYSO, but know that behind the scenes, it really, Debbie's doing an amazing job. I don't know how she's doing it because it really feels like every single week we're pulling a rabbit out of a magic hat. It's like, oh my gosh, this is happening and you're not getting all of the information, but I can tell you that it's insanity and somehow miraculously we're pulling it out, right? There's opportunities to play, or we're finding backup fields, or we're doing whatever. So please, thank you for your patience. Make sure you're communicating that to your team, that we just need to be flexible and work with it. And hopefully, we just kind of appreciate after this past year being out and playing. So 1, make sure that we are ending our games on time, that we are filling out our game cards, and that if you're the last game of the day, you need to take down the goals. Yeah? I'll also post a video. It's for the smaller goal, But it's the same exact setup, just we're using the bigger goals until the ones at Revere are fully finished, or at Brown Science Magnet. Pali High, same thing. Make sure you know where those goals go. I've driven past fields the last several weeks. I've had to stop and take down our goals or put up the goals. So make sure you know if you're the first game of the day, you know if you're the last game of the day, you make sure the equipment gets put away. If you don't know, shoot me on Band. It's the easiest way to get a hold of me. I am on the fields all day long on Saturday. I can help solve problems. Brian or our 10U Boys Commissioner, our 10U Girls Commissioner, they're available and they can help as well. So make sure you reach out. If you're having any problems, I know I've spoken to a handful of our 10U coaches so far. Remember, we have trainers out on the field that can help you with practices, help solve problems, and I'm happy to chat with you whenever, wherever, about soccer and everything AYSO. All right, so thanks again so much for coaching. Look forward to seeing you out on the soccer fields this weekend. Bye.